Good Friday morning, everybody, and welcome to the morning briefing here with Friedman Adventures. It is so great to be with you here this lovely Friday morning. All right, I can't fool you. It's Thursday evening at 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California, and it's not very often that I get out on the water, but tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock, I'm going with Phil Capriccio and Eddie Leland. Captain Eddie, we're going to keep celebrating his birthday and get out on the water and shoot a video and test out these blacktail hooks. We'll be fishing with them all day long. And my thanks to Sky over there at Blacktail for providing them for us. Eddie looked at them and said, I really, really like these. So we'll let you know about that. We'll let you know about the local bite. We'll see if we can get this barracuda to start chewing again. There's a little teaser about the barracuda not biting yesterday. So we'll keep you in touch with all of that. So when I say yesterday, I'm talking about Thursday, because I figure you're tuning in Friday morning for the morning briefing. We have got a lot for you as usual. It's great to be with you all. I do want to remind you that our next trip is on the Pride. It's a 2-day trip. Those guys, I don't know what they're doing, what vitamins they're taking, but on the Pride they have been conking the fish full speed with some great yellowtail and sea bass fishing, mostly sea bass. They just left Sean Roberts on a 2.5-day trip, and Michael and Sean were telling me that they've had some exceptional fishing over the past 48 hours. A lot of these guys are keeping a lid on it because they kind of want to keep a lid on it, kind of keep the bite to themselves. But some of them have had some exceptional fishing, and our next 2-day trip is on board the Pride, sailing July the 5th. We got 2 spots. If you want to go, 657-227-6459. Send me a text and I'll get you some information on how you can join us. It's beautiful here at 22nd Street Landing. I surmise it's going to be a gorgeous day on Friday, so hopefully you'll be able to get out and catch some fish. Also, the Malahini will be on board there on July the 22nd with my friend Bill Wilkerson, and we'll be out prowling around the waters of San Diego and northern Baja California. Hopefully by that time we're going to see some more warm water. And I know Cabo has been hit by hurricanes. Some people think that forces warm water up the Baja Peninsula into San Diego, and scientists, most of them will tell you there's no evidence to back it up. But fishermen see the empirical evidence. In other words, a few days after a hurricane, they start seeing more warm water and more warm water and more warm water. So they surmise from that it does indeed happen. All right, you know, springtime, and I realize we're in summer, but I'm making a point here. Springtime, remember I used to talk to you a lot about that step on the gas, looks like it's gonna go, and then you take 2 steps back because you'll get wind or you'll get a condition change that makes things poorer. Man, this summer is just like that because we can't get rolling. We just can't get any momentum. We get these starts and it looks like it's gonna go, and then it backs off on us. And that has been the case here for the most part. So taking a look down there in San Diego, kind of hit and miss. Some guys had some decent fishing on that bluefin tuna. There's been some night bites, and then there's been some horrible misses at night where you get 0 or 2 or 5 fish, something like that. So that bite has not settled in like I thought it was. It seemed to be pointed toward that. It seemed to be like it was going to really rock and roll, and then it backs off a little bit. So the boats that are fishing 1.5-day trips, and I highly recommend you're on that, you do want to have that nighttime bite. Make sure you're bringing a variety of jigs to fish with, knife jigs, ikanas, the flat falls, in a variety of different weights. Anything from 80 grams, you'll use those in the daytime, to maybe a little better than 200 grams, like that. You definitely want to have all that, and you have to have 2 rods in San Diego fishing that tuna right now. You got to have a 30 or 40 pound rod that you can fly line with, fluorocarbon. We like www.opsonusa.com. Put in FA at checkout. You'll get a note from Greg as well as a free gift. I'm not sure what that is, but Greg is going to send you something. So that 1 rod with the fluoro, and then you definitely need the 2-speed reel. You got to have 80 or 100 pound, because while we are seeing some boats get into this 20 to 40 pound fish, other guys in this 40 to 60 pound stuff, we still catch 200 plus pounders almost every single day. See them jumping out of the water, and you do not want to go into a stop or roll up on a breezer of that fish and just be out of the game because you don't have the tackle. I know sometimes you can get lulled into this state of complacency and you see the smaller grade fish you take a chance, and that's when you really get screwed. So please keep that in mind. Scores for the 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. boats. You know, the San Diego had a good day the other day, but most of the guys are struggling again. It's just hit and miss, okay? I mean, it could rip here on Friday and really be good, but it just lacks the consistency that we'd really like to see out of it. And hopefully it is going to settle down a little bit more. All right. Once again, the weather in San Diego and northern Baja, perfect. The Pongueros out of Ensenada, same thing. They're having a little bit more trouble. They're trolling around with the Mad Mac lures. They had some really awesome fishing at times, but that has been more hit and miss here recently. What our hope is on that offshore region, remember 10 days ago we had those yellowfin. We kept catching 8, 10, 12 yellowfin spread between the Pongueros and the San Diego fleet and some private boaters, probably more than that actually. We're hoping that warm water, that flow of warm water up the Baja Peninsula gets more of that kind of fish in here. Tropical and subtropical stuff like yellowfin, tuna, more yellowtail, maybe even some dorado. It's a little early for that, but if we get enough warm water flushing up the Baja coast, that certainly is within the realm of possibility. We'll keep our fingers crossed on that. I do need to mention the A word to you. I know some of you are sick of it. Some of you have these traumatic reactions when we guess about albacore. I'm not sure why. We're just like guessing about fish coming, so it shouldn't be like a traumatic thing, an emotional thing. It's just a guess about fish. Kind of like, when you say, I think the Lakers are going to win tonight. I usually don't break down and fall on my knees and start crying. So here it is. Anyway, Tommy Holland doing great work. Talking to the commercial boys, talking to everybody. No big mass of fish close to San Diego. However, scratching out some albacore, seeing some jumpers as close as 180 miles from SD. That's getting close, I'm telling you, and the water looks beautiful. Tommy looks not only at the water, but he looks at the plankton levels, 2.1 right now, perfect for albies. That'll get them up, feeding on the surface. There's enough chovy around. The water temperatures are good. There's fish nearby. I'm telling you, I feel really good about this year. Last year at this time, I didn't bail on the prediction because I wasn't updating like we are now. I would have bailed. The water got too warm. You could see it clearly. The albacore don't like it. They're not going to swim in that. Don't see that this year. We see perfect conditions. We see everything pointing toward getting some albacore. Huge season. I'm not going to say that. I have no clue on that one. But significant amount of longfin moving towards San Diego. Keep your fingers crossed. We'll see what indeed does happen. And Tommy Holland, I take my hat off to you. I'm blinding you. I know. Sorry about that. I take my hat off to you, Tommy, for all the great hard work you are doing for Friedman Adventures. And you and I are going to sit down and do a podcast one of these days real soon. All right, the islands. Let's start down south of the border at Todos Santos there off of Ensenada. And it's the same thing. A few yellows, more and more barracuda, good calico bass fishing down in that neck of the woods. It looks pretty good. I'll cover both the local and the islands. Let's do it that way here today for the Friday report. Along the coast down there, we're seeing more and more barracuda around University Point, and up there in that area that I love to fish, the Punta Banda area up near La Bufadora and surrounding areas. It's so beautiful and picturesque there, but you get inside there in those calm waters with those kelp beds, and you can really hammer out some good calico bass fishing. There's been really good calico bass fishing around La Bufadora and around that Punta Banda area, so hopefully that will continue, and we'll see a few more yellows. There's some yellows around the islands, some yo-yo iron and surface iron fish, and we're also seeing a little bit of fish there up the coast a little ways, Salsipuedes and some areas like that. Coronado Islands and surrounding areas at the islands, a few yellowtail. Seems like a little bit more right now, but again, most guys drive by it. They're wanting to catch one of these giant bluefin tuna. There's been a few yellows on the surface iron, on the sardine, a little bit of barracuda, a little bit of calico bass. Kind of not quite ready to bust wide open, but it could. I mean, it seems like there's more influx of fish. I'm talking about forkies, more yellows starting to move in there, so that could indeed get going here very, very soon. And of course, we take a look there along the coast and around La Jolla and those areas, really good calico bass fishing. There's a lot of shorts, but there's some decent calico bass fishing, an occasional yellowtail in there. Also, we'll hope that that is going to continue to head in the right direction. We'll move you up the coast, and the Catalina Island area is very hit and miss. I don't get it. I mean, conditions are really good there right now. It looks beautiful. Should catch some more yellowtail here real soon. It's hit and miss. One day you'll catch a pretty good amount of barracuda and yellowtail. Barracuda and bonita and some yellowtail, occasional white sea bass, occasional halibut, some whitefish, sheepshead, and rockfish. Overall, kind of tough though. You're catching a lot of short bass, decent bonita fishing for several boats, and hopefully that is going to settle in really, really soon. Hopefully it'll get biting again. San Clemente Island, for most guys today, they were all saying this is a different place today. It's a little windier. We don't see the fish. We don't see any evidence of the fish, and that was a big problem today. So Clemente overall was slow. Now, once again, I'll go back to Sean and Michael on the Pride. And I don't know where they're fishing. They didn't tell me. I don't ask. I don't want to know because I just don't want to know because I'm not going to say anything. And they said they've been having very steady, good fishing, especially on white sea bass here lately. Just took off on a 2.5-day trip. So they're out of here early here on Thursday evening. They should be whacking at some fish tonight maybe, and I think that's part of it. They're fishing that night bite, and it's pretty good, and we'll be able to do that on that 2-day trip, fishing at night, so I can't wait for that. Back into the coast along Dana Wharf and up to San Pedro Dana, calico bass, mostly shorts. Up here in the San Pedro area, those guys all went to the barracuda zone, and they just didn't see it. It was gone. Now, I don't know if we're back to, square one again, where the barracuda show up in full force. They put on this big bite. Everybody gets excited. I mean, we put out a barracuda video with Sam De La Torre, and then they just skedaddle. And I mean, that has been what has been happening for several years now, as opposed to back in the old days when that stuff would settle and bite for months on end. And same thing with the sand bass. When those first moved in, everybody was jumping up and down and saying, here they are, the sand bass, the migratory sand bass. And I don't think so. I mean, I think it was, a lot of those guys were fishing live squid on spots, and you can do that in January and come up with a good score. Hopefully, we'll see more of that move in. We could really use it around these parts, and I'm hoping that is going to happen very, very soon. What else was I going to tell you about the local bite? A few halibut, not much more than that. Now, up in the Channel Islands, man, they've had some just outstanding white sea bass fishing, but that has backed off, and now we're looking at all these areas. Tomorrow on Saturday we're gonna have that boat pressure problem, and when you throw a lot of boats on areas, sometimes it is a negative. It results in slower fishing. We'll see what happens. There's a few scores up there in the Channel Islands, but most of the guys, like the Aloha Spirit with one white sea bass back on Thursday, just kind of slow, not all that great, but I wouldn't write that place off, not for 1 second. It's loaded with white sea bass and looking really, really good along the coast there. Island Spirit and those guys have had their little go-arounds on sand bass, calico bass, halibut, and a few barracuda up in Santa Barbara. Same thing, some barracuda. Nothing all that wide open. We'll keep our eyes on it. Along the beaches, we see some pretty good corvina fishing, especially up there around Topaz Rock Jetty. Up there in El Segundo, we're seeing some yellowfin croaker. Bolsa Chica, some really good yellowfin croaker fishing, and some spotfin. Spotfin are going to bite bait, and those sandworms that you dig up are a great way to get the job done, so you can keep your eyes on that. Watch the sandworm video that I produced so you can go out and dig up plenty of sandworms. That will work really, really well for you all. All right, everybody, we need that gas pedal to get stepped on. This local barracuda, where is it? I'm out looking for it right now, shooting a video with blacktail hooks, and I'm hoping that that is indeed going to come together for us and all of you. If you're on a sport boat, we might even call you in on the thing. And of course, we'll take a look around for some good bass fishing, sea bass, see if we can dig up something really cool. And I'll have that video for you as soon, excuse me, as possible. I'll be doing a podcast out at Bass Pro Shops on Saturday. It sounds like about 2 o'clock. I'll let you know, but if you're in that area and want to drop by and say hello, I would love to shake your hand. And thank you for the amazing stats you are providing us with. Now close to 20,000 hours of content consumed in the last 28 days. Can't thank you enough, and starting to push up toward 160,000 views. And I know that's not me, that's all of you. All right, Freeman Adventures is on it for you. Thanks again for checking us out. We'll continue to monitor it for you here on your morning briefings. Have a great day, and I'll see you really soon.